Here we have a human against Orc. It's Lin, possibly the greatest Orc player of all time, against Chaemiko, the up-and-coming rising star. One of these Koreans is going home. One of these Koreans will go to the grand final to face a Chinese opponent. This is going to be an excellent match, and I have an excellent caster by my side. Todd, how you doing?
I'm doing great, very excited for this match. Chaemiko is coming off a big victory in the quarterfinals against another Orc. The desk touched on it. It's definitely going to give the opportunity for Lin to have studied that and make some of his own adjustments. And look at this already here. What's happening is opening up with a war mill pretty quickly and a build order that looks like it could be Headhunters perhaps here on Last Refuge, where Chaemiko, yesterday we saw him play a lot with rifles and doing a lot of two-farm tech. If you go for that, you're not going to have many footmen early on. It's kind of hard to time that defense if you want to go for that really well as well. And there's a big power spike with the Headhunters to try and creep both merchants and really take map control from the very early on.
Yeah, I think this is a very nice strategy on Last Refuge for Lin, and we saw him do it opening day against Imphy. Of course, Imphy was playing random, but he did it both games, and he was able to play it beautifully. I think it was even on this map that he did Farseer Headhunters. Of course, the optimal strategy against random is to do that because it's good against all races, but here on Last Refuge, yeah, I think it's a good option, and we also saw the peon going down to deny that Shadow Priest pull. So all good things for Lin so far. The question is, he's going to have a very delayed tech, so how much is he going to get done with these early Headhunters?
Yeah, I mean, early on, you're supposed to just kind of play safe with a Headhunter player, like don't overextend, go deep inside of the human base. You can still like get close to that base and fight quite a bit, and usually you're going to be the one doing more damage than the opponent. Oh, that was nice, actually. He locked the Archmage out of that wall here with a Wolf. He's trying to do a little bit of damage to it. But it's really the moments where you reach 5 to 7 Headhunters that you can start going for those items. You don't even need to creep the full camps necessarily, and I think those two merchants in the center are usually going to be the main target of that here. You transition later on into Totem Torrent, and you go into usually Walkers and then Torrents, unless you want to try and play with Shamans, which is a different playstyle. In my opinion, not necessarily as good. But if he does think there's going to be rifles, it could still be fine.
Yeah, and there's a couple of options for Chaemiko. He's already putting down a blacksmith, so going into rifles, but generally, Todd, I think the right answer would be, of course, you said more footmen with early defend, but also probably dual sanctum, maybe an expo on tier 2. I do not think rifles are necessarily the optimal way to play against this, but it's definitely a style that Chaemiko's comfortable with.
Yeah, there is a timing where if you go rifles, you can actually attack against this. It's around when tier 3 finishes for the Orc. Assuming there's going to be a tier 3. If you attack then, and ideally you should have Mount Tanking level 3, you should have around 50 supply, then it's before Orc gets everything that they need for this to really kick into the next gear. You know, Berserker upgrades, units from, or important units from the Totem. Yeah, this Headhunter is so good against the tower. They're going to get a safe cancel here. Lin playing very aggressive, but now this is the moment where the 5th Headhunter is in the center of the map. It might be time to start pulling back and creeping one of the camps. Like, he can kind of pick, you know, like, does he go for like the Small Grim, the consumable? Does he go maybe for one of the Merchant? I think that would be the better choice.
Yeah, I think definitely going for those shops early on. He's going to get one of the consumables here already, but not the big boy. Going to steal that priest away, could get illusions. They've been very effective so far this weekend, but going to get a replenishment potion. Not too bad, as he does not have a Voodoo Lounge. Wolf going into the main base to scout. Chaemiko's trying to get that level 2, trying to get that aura, but the Farseer is around here, lurking in the shadows, trying to deny that, and he is going to deny it. One footman in snare, going to take a lot of damage, but is going to be safe for now. But a couple of units could be picked off as well. That would give Lin almost level 2, and with Chain Lightning you can really pressure this Archmage, and you can really pressure the few footmen that there are.
Yeah, so far Lin is really bullying Chaemiko this game. Maybe it's because he sees there is no defend. I mean, even if there was, you have enough Headhunters to just be able to pull back anyway. You shouldn't really be losing anything. And usually from there it's going to be a Torrent Chieftain starting. Mount Tanking quite a bit ahead of that Torrent Chieftain here in production tab. So Chaemiko's tech was definitely incredibly fast. And it's a large second, so he wants to play with Shamans as opposed to Spirit Walkers here. What do you make of this?
Probably more tier 2 pressure. Of course, you have, you know, Purge is not only good for the water elementals, but it's also good to take early fights to keep those rifles in position and get pickoffs. So it can almost gain you the map control that the human will get on his side with the Stormbolt, and it will allow Lin to take more aggressive camps, as we see him taking one already. But as soon as that Mountain King's out for Chaemiko, you're going to have to get something else to sort of have the map control still. The Spirit Lodge taking a little bit of damage, but it will come up nonetheless, and the Tauren Chieftain's going to come out, and he is going to be creeping so fast, Lin, with this number of headhunters. 6 already, and Chaemiko's going to really have to pull a lot of militia just to catch up at all in the creeping speed. Maybe he's going to go on the aggressive. It looks like the Mountain King's here. 1 Stormbolt, 1 headhunter going to be picked off. A nice little timing, though, for Chaemiko.
Yeah, without Berserker upgrade, those headhunters fall pretty quickly here to Stormbolt and target fire. One more Footman will go down. That's Farseer level 3 here, while the Archmage is not even necessarily that close to level 3 himself. Tauren Chieftain about to come in. Lin will be pushing this force back here. And what's the plan here behind this? There's no tier 3 starting. He goes into a grunt as he starts producing Shaman. So, considering he's against rifles, like I said, it could be dangerous to tech to tier 3 too greedily here. So you might just instead play it a lot safer, just add a lot of grunts to counter those rifles, get a lot of shamans to have Purge available, and also Lightning Shields. And look, Brute Shrine being researched as well.
Very interesting from Lin. Yeah, so he's still got the headhunters to deal with the short number of priests that there will be. There's 2 out already, but now he's going into grunts, going into shamans to deal with the rifles. Peon was going to go for the expo, but Lin hasn't had time to creep it yet. Nice positioning from Chaemiko. Already got 2 units. Maybe he can get a 3rd headhunter in the future. Nice militia pull as well. Love to see when humans do that really proactively. 1 Footman maybe going to fall, but there's a lot of heal from the 2 priests that have come out. It is going to go down. The Mountain King taking a lot of damage, actually. It might fall. Stomp, Chain Lightning, and it is maybe going to fall. Yeah, last hit is going to secure that level 1 Mountain King kill. Nicely done by Lin, but still no expansion coming up behind this.
Yeah, there's not so much militia duration left here. Lin turns around, he's waiting for it to expire. He's going to re-engage. He knows there is no Mountain King. The Mountain King actually hasn't been restarted just yet. Is he going to rebuy in the center? It's quite costly to do that, even though it's only level 1 here. Chaemiko fighting with just the Archmage. He's not paying attention. Oh, wait, no, actually it is on the way. Yeah. It's halfway through done. Back at the altar, so he's not going for the instant revive. And Chaemiko, yesterday against Soin, we saw him with incredible rifle control. Kiting, repositioning, perfectly timed Stormbolts. But now you can tell that maybe he's not as experienced playing against headhunters, because it does feel like it was a bit of an overextension the way this fight was going for him. I think if he fully realized that Orc was still on tier 2, he might just be content with creeping his Mountain King to level 3 instead of fighting at a time where Orc was a little too ready to fight him.
Yeah, he had that initial nice timing where he picked off the 2 headhunters, but then maybe getting a little overzealous, thinking he had the stronger force when he definitely didn't. And on maps like Last Refuge, there's a lot of camps to get the Mountain King to level 3. We're going to see Chaemiko take that lab, and then you can even take the Mercenary camp. The expansion already been taken, but there's a couple camps you can go aggressive to get. Lin, the question is he going to go for an expansion? He had a Peon ready. I think I see one moving over. Okay, it's already there. So this will be level 3 Tauren Chieftain. He's got a heal scroll, and he's going to be building an expansion behind this 45 supply tier 2 army. So can Chaemiko get ready in time to maybe muster a force to push that expansion? If the Mountain King gets level 3, like he said, he could probably break this expansion, but he's going to need a little bit more time, Chaemiko.
Yeah, 45 supply seems to really be the timing here with some of these Orcs expanding at this time. It does feel like if you would do it earlier, it'd be a little on the greedier side of things. Then if it gets cancelled, it's pretty bad. And you're also skipping unit to start that Great Hall a little bit earlier. Yeah, already a Witch Doctor out here. Wants to have a lot of scouting. And actually, both of the corners of the map have been warded. So there's going to be some very good map control by Lin. Chaemiko found the Hellstone, like it's a good item, like it's going to give him some survivability. But on the top of that wish list, you know, if you've been a good boy, what you ask for Christmas usually is mana.
Yeah, and we're going to see the Archmage trying to supplement those gifts that Santa did not give to the Mountain King. 2 mana potions bought from that shop, but pretty costly, whereas he could have just got it. Actually getting a flute as well. Both players actually getting aura. Lionhorn on the side of Lin, but I think Chaemiko's a little bit more happy with his aura. And these wards, yeah, this early Witch Doctor is something also that Lin's doing new, and it almost makes me question, is he going to defend the Expo, or is he just going to go for maybe a hit and run style? When Chaemiko goes for the expansion cancel, Lin's going to go into the main base. Could be potential for that sort of play, but it looks as though, yeah, Lin's going down to the bottom, but there is a scout there. I see a little red dot dots, so maybe Chaemiko's aware of this. Yeah, he is going to go back and defend his main base, because the level 2 wolves are putting in work to these peasants.
Yeah, no arcane tower in the main base. That was also something that's like a little corner that Chaemiko was cutting yesterday. So Lin definitely studied those games against Zoe, and he was like, okay, I can probably exploit that. But now Torrent Chieftain is level 4. It's a very scary time here in this game for both players. Like, it's all about getting the good engagements. Chaemiko, we saw him get some incredible items against Soin. Now finding the true shots, it does feel like he's still getting some pretty good stuff. Oh yeah, that Mountain King with the double mana potion is obviously going to be very scary. Last Refuge, though, a very narrow map. It's very hard to fight with rifles for a very long time, so usually we see Chaemiko transition into double Sanctum. But here Lin is looking to try and apply some pressure around the main base.
This is so sick from Lin. He's never going to take a fight. He's just buying time. Normally, this rifle timing from the human player will always cancel the expansion. But because of Lin getting this early Witch Doctor, he's just sharking around and saying, I'm going to hit your main, and you're going to go in and, what, kill 2 peons at my expansion. I'm going to kill your entire main base if you go for that. So this is beautiful. He's just buying time. I think Chaemiko should try to send maybe a couple of units. He has no remaining footmen left, though, to send to the expansion. So he's just going to send a water elemental. That's a little bit unfortunate that he doesn't have any footmen left. Because what are you supposed to send to deal with those peasants? The whole army's going to go now, and it looks like Lin might be ready to finally defend.
Yeah, he knows that this attack is coming. All he has to do is defend it, and then he would be up an expansion. Usually it's pretty much game from there. But this Mountain King is the really scary one here in this army. Can Chaemiko get a fight in a good position? He was so incredibly good against Soin, blocking that Torrent Chieftain, letting Stormbolt clap on him, slowing him down entirely, and never really letting the TC get on top of this big rifle army. Uses it does to get rid of the sentry ward. He also got rid of the 2 in the center earlier. Lin buying so much time here. This is so smart because he's just running around making sure that Chaemiko doesn't get a good engagement just yet. But here it goes. Torrent Chieftain needs to get inside of those rifles.
Oh, big stomp could be happening. The militia is pulled, can power build a shop in the future. The Mountain King is getting pretty decent claps, but it's only on grunts, it's only on raiders. And the purges are beautiful, picking off a priest right away. The militia are tanking in the front, but the chain lightning is good. This is a beautiful position from Lin so far, and the supply is good to supplement. The clap was just massive there, and there's plenty more where that came from. One more mana pot. The stomp was also good, but where's the follow-up damage? The Mountain King getting a little bit low, has no potions on him, but could be past one from the Archmage. Ooh, the Torrent Chieftain, a little bit low on mana, a little bit low on health, but has a potion of invulnerability. Yeah,
and he could dodge a big Stormbolt here if it were to be thrown his way. Lin massively ahead in supply now. It looks like he's pushing Chaemiko back, and he has that expansion running the whole time. Chaemiko needs to find more damage here. He needs to slow down these units. He needs to keep on kiting, lands a clap, but just on a few of those units. And the Torrent Chieftain is ready to get back to work here. He wants to stomp something. Chaemiko doing such a good job running away from it and negating the effects of those stomps, but now the Chieftain is kind of deep inside of that army. He's going to force a town portal. Lin, he has Expo running behind this. This was huge here, this fight win.
Wow, all the consumables almost used. One heal scroll left for Lin, but both the mana potions on the Mountain King used. That Chaemiko maybe had, one more mana pot, a third one on that Mountain King. Maybe he can force that Torrent Chieftain to die, or at least town portal away. So just a little bit more mana, and maybe that fight swings the other way. But as it stands, 45 against 67 supply, and the army's only getting bigger behind this expo for Lin. He's going to get more mana, he's going to get more health, probably go get another potion of invulnerability. Also has a mana pot now in that Torrent Chieftain that's close to reaching level 5, and we saw yesterday what that could do.
Yeah, against a lot of rifles like this and no breakers, yeah, good luck winning against that. Clap is going to land in the middle of these units here. Mountain King not working with a lot of mana. I mean, yes, he has a mana potion, and there is always going to be Brilliance level 2. But Torrent Chieftain also has quite a bit of mana. He's got the mana potion. Mountain King going to be targeted. He has invuln. Ideally, you want to time it so that you can dodge a stomp. But now he's going to be forced to use that early. Lin still stomps immediately behind because he can land it on a lot of these rifles. He has so much army here, 64 to 44 right now. Yeah, the positioning is always so well done by Lin. The range units in the back, the melee units in the front. The Torrent Chieftain always gets a stomp on at least 3 units, and that's going to be 3 kills as well. But the Torrent Chieftain could maybe follows that away back in for Chaemiko. The Mountain King is also low in the back. One more stomp. Is there a mana pot? No, there is not. So no more stomps, no more claps on either side. Chain Lightning is huge, and game 1 goes to Lin. Beautifully played. He certainly clicked on Chaemiko's heroes and checked the full inventory here, because the way he was sticking around at the ends felt dangerous with the Torrent Chieftain, but there was no Stormbolt yet. He checked the mana, He saw that there was no extra mana items, and he's like, I'm totally fine to run around with no hit points. You know, there's nothing that can actually threaten me this much. Lin showing up prepared. I expected no less, but that was definitely a very good here by him of a game one with the headhunters into grunts. Not something you get to see very often.
Not something I've really seen ever, honestly. The transition, we've seen Farseer headhunters a ton in North America and Europe, and now in Asia they're starting to adapt it as well. But the transition back into grunt, staying on tier 2, you mentioned at the beginning of that game, tier 3 is the most common play, going into Torrens, going into Spirit Walkers off that Torrent totem. But yeah, just staying tier 2, just amassing a big army and not staying on headhunters that can be easily countered by possible breakers or lots of claps in the future, transitioning to that strong frontline grunt army, and that's a really good option when you're against a human player like Chaemiko or Sok, for instance, that love to just go rifles every game.
Yeah, Chaemiko, it does feel like with more mana items, it could have been better. Also, I feel like if you get an item like Flutes, ideally, if you can get a much bigger army, it's going to come in even more handy, because then it affects many, many more units than it did now. You know, like at most, it felt like it was around 50 supply this whole time in this game. And I think maybe some militia were missing as well during the attack. Like, you're definitely supposed to bring peasants to the Orc expansion, set up a shop there, and then keep spamming more clarities, more mana potions, and wear the Orc down. But Lin, he just played perfectly, I feel like, against what Chaemiko was doing. You know, the Farseer in the main base, like, he knew there was no tower. He set up sentry wards all over the place. He was buying a lot of time. Chaemiko, yes, could have attacked the expansion of Lin, but then Lin would have been straight inside of the main of Chaemiko, wrecking peasants.
Yeah, that's one thing Lin does against human that no other orc does. Not even the top, not even focus, fly. Nobody does it, and nobody does it definitely as well as him, is buying time when that expansion's going up. Right around the 8.5 minute mark of this matchup, that's when the human wants to push with level 3 Mountain King, with mana potions, 45 to 50 supply rifles, and Lin is so good at just buying himself those extra 45, 30 seconds. And we saw him in that game buying himself an extra 2 minutes even. And by then it was, what, 65 against 45 supply. There was no shot being power built for Chaemiko, and yeah, if Lin can do that again on Concealed Hill, which is map 2, it's gonna look dire for Chaemiko.
Alright, let's jump right into it then. Let's see if Lin can continue here with his winning ways, or can Chaemiko perhaps bring it back on a map where there's, yes, of course, fountains, but a lot of stuff can happen before these actually come into play. Starting in the bottom left-hand side, we've got the human player, Chaemiko, and in the top right, Lin. With a standard build this time, no War Mill.
Yeah, any adjustments from Chaemiko maybe on this map in particular, or sort of same stuff? I know on Concealed Hill it's a little bit better to possibly go for 2 Sanctums early as opposed to rifles, but any other adjustments possibly Chaemiko could make going into game 2?
Actually, I feel like a lot of top humans from Asia, they play rifles as an opener on this map. Like, the rifle decision, like there's multiple factors to take in. Like for example, like I said, Last Refuge is like really narrow, so it's hard to stay on rifles for a long time. So you would have to transition usually into double Sanctum. But here, it's about the difficulty to creep. If you go for double Sanctum, yes, you have a good fighting army, but your creeping speed is going to be way slower than if you go for rifles, who do a lot more damage. So I expect him to still do 2 farm tech into rifles, and then I've seen Chaemiko actually expand quite a bit in a lot of these games. Yeah. Like at around 50 supply, and then like ideally, if he can, he'll go into double Sanctum down the line, but I don't expect him to really ever play double Sanctum right off the bat, or at least that's not what I've seen from him. That would be a big adjustment to maybe try and catch Lin off guard, but Lin can scout as well.
For sure, and it is going to be at least a 3 farm tech, a little bit of a change up from last game. He's going for the lab first, so this does seem like some sort of an early level 3 creep route. Could still be anything on tier 2 with a creep route like this, but it is most definitely going to be an attempted pressure onto the burrows, onto the tier 2 buildings of Lin in the future. But the question is, can Chaemiko get that level 3 as early as he wishes, or will Lin stop it with some, you know, possible nice last hits with the Farseer?
He hasn't started running home yet with the peasants. A lot of humans, they run home early after they've killed the big rock golem. And then whatever peasant gets targeted, they try and deny it, or they try and block so that the opponent doesn't kill too many of them. If you do this whole camp and you only lose like 3 peasants, it's been worth it usually. Like, of course you delay your own tech, but you start with level 2, and then it becomes much easier to secure level 3, because then you got those 2 small green camps near your base. You have like a lot of small camps on Concealed Hill that you can secure in order to get that. But he gets one of the worst items, I would say. Like, it can come in handy later on, but compared to like Greater Mana, it's obviously not nearly as good, the Greater Invuln.
Yeah, and he only lost 2 Peasants, I think, whereas like you pointed out, 3 is normally, like 100% of the time, I feel like he'll lose 3 as a human, so nicely done from Chaemiko, and maybe not sending them back right away, being able to defend them for a little bit longer might be the better choice, but I'm not sure. We do see 4 footmen, 5 footmen actually, and a 6th one on the way, tier 2 tech, and the tower coming behind that, whereas for Lin, he's much faster on this tier 2 tech. He's getting his shop, he's getting his 3rd burrow, maybe, yeah, 3rd burrow it is. And the Farseer is going to continue to pressure. The pressure's not going to be able to do too much because there's, of course, fountains on this map, but it will be able to stop that level 3 Archmage from coming any sooner.
Yeah, I believe that when Chaemiko started tech, Lin already had his at 60%. So that's a very, very big difference in terms of that tech speed. And yeah, he didn't lose too many peasants, but yeah, that tech difference, it can mean the world down the line. I'm surprised he didn't try to creep one more of the small camps near his base, at least the orange.
Yeah.
You know, and then go across the map and secure the turtle with just militia. Because then you get level 3. Like we saw, it was TH that started doing this and some of the Chinese humans on Northern Isle at the time. They would get an Arcane Tower very quickly, they would creep the Tusker. And then that meant that they would... It was impossible for them not to get level 3. They got level 3 and then they pressure. They say, oh, you want to go fast tier 2 and start a lodge? How about I cancel it like 4 times in a row because I have Water Elementals level 2? But in this game, Chaemiko is fighting against the Orc army and he's kind of stuck just slightly above level 2. So he's not in the Orc base right now cancelling the lodge. And as soon as those shamans come in, they're going to start being excellent here.
Yeah, one grunt was nicely surrounded, a little bit of an unfortunate surround. The Farseer is being zoned out as well. Gonna have to go back home to heal, but the Tauren Chieftain will be out soon with salves. Archmage getting pretty close to level 3, but as you said, it's pretty much too late to get at least any tier 2 cancels. Maybe a burrow kill in the future could be nice, and you know, also maybe expansion cancels as well on the side of Lin if he goes for that 45 supply Great Hall like he did on Last Refuge. But back at home, the tier 2's about to finish. Nice little split militia creep, so this will give the Archmage level 3. I believe it should be level 3, yeah. But we'll see what the tier 2 tech is. We haven't seen a blacksmith yet, actually, for Chaemiko, so maybe it is too Sanctum, a little bit of an interesting playstyle.
Yeah, he's kind of lumber starved though, because he has no lumber mill and he's been using militia a lot, so he finally gets level 3, but Shaman production has already started. It's almost like, unless he can really make something happen with his Mountain King, it feels almost counterproductive to get Archmage level 3 this late. He went Water Elemental level 2. Usually, in more normal games where he fast tech, he always gets Brilliance level 2. That's because he wants to creep his Mountain King and then have Brilliance level 2 kind of carry with that, with the mana regeneration. But here, committing to Water Elemental level 2 against an Orc already getting Shamans, it could end up being really bad. So he's going to have to find a way to get some damage done, I feel like, with this.
Yeah, the Mountain King is probably going to march straight across the map. This is something we see humans do relatively commonly on Concealed Hill. It's hard to creep that Tauren Chieftain up, and it's especially hard for the Orc to creep his expansion out. So if you get level 3 Archmage and you pressure the Orc player, it can be hard for them to get much done, as we're seeing right now. But Lin nicely already started a little bit of creeping, maybe going to be able to get a Stomp, but he's actually not quite level 2 for that Stomp yet. The Mountain King's coming across the map, and it is Castle for Chaemiko. So it's not too Sanctum, it's not Rifles. We were both wrong. He's going to go into Griffins, Todd.
Wow. And actually, this is a strategy that... Oh, and it gets scouted immediately. I was going to say this is a strategy that can work out, especially if the Orc doesn't know this is happening. But Lin immediately sees this. And this is a strategy designed to counter the standard Orc meta, where you go for a lot of grunts, you go for Tauren Chieftain, they both counter ground very, very well. That Greater Invuln might be forced here in a second. Trying to just run away. Oof. Some big patience here from Chaemiko. Kills the Raider. That's because it's the weakest unit in all of this army that can die very quickly. And he's still around with the Archmage.
Just little bits of value. Not creeping the Mountain King, of course, but the Tauren Chieftain, well, he did get level 2, which is actually pretty nicely done. If I'm in this situation, I'm definitely not getting Tauren Chieftain level 2, so Lin playing very well around this pressure of his opponent right now, but the Archmage, yeah, very low. Luckily has Boots of Speed from earlier. A couple of footmen are being sent back to be healed up. Yeah, double Griffin Aviary on the way. Yeah, and Lin did a beautiful scout. He did it as soon as the tier 2 finished, and then again when he didn't see the sanctums of the blacksmith coming up. So that was really well done. Such a big map as Concealed Hill. It's hard to get those wolves across without them expiring, but both scouts were perfectly timed, and Lin's going to be ready. You know, I'm not 100% sure what his proper response will be. It looks like Raiders and Headhunters. I'm not sure if he's going to invest into Bat Riders at all, but probably going to be a commitment to tier 2 anti-air.
Yeah, I think you can just go for like a lot of Headhunters there and just have a few Raiders, maybe add one Kodo down the line as well. Was gonna go for the Storm here, but Archmage uses the invuln on time. Chaemiko is overextending here. He's supposed to engage into this army when it's creeping, but when it's not, I'm not sure that he should be fighting like this. Snipes one of the Shaman, he might try and go for the other one. There is still one Stormbolt, an extra one. And like I said, when you get Water Elementals level 2, you have to fight like this. Kodo comes out. Lin already queued reinforced defenses, so those burrows not going to be quite as exposed against the Griffins that we know are going to be there down the line.
So I think it was 3 footmen in total going down, and so far Chaemiko's killed 2 Raiders, a Grunt, and a Shaman, almost at Headhunter at the end. So this is pretty nice, but seeing as though Chaemiko's just going into a strategy that Lin has all the time in the world to counter, it may not be quite enough. But maybe he can find one good fight. The Paladin's on the way. The Torn Chieftain is going to get level 3 soon enough, and Lin is bolstering his forces. He's getting his Kodo, his first Kodo, and some more Headhunters, I imagine. And the expansion is going up as well. How many Griffins are going to be coming out in the next 2.5 minutes, and how big of a force is Chaemiko going to have to break that expansion attempt?
Remember that Lin, for a very long time, was undefeated against Human.
Yes.
It felt like a super long streak where he just wouldn't lose to Human, and then he started losing a little bit again. And one of the series that he lost, maybe it was the second one that he lost in a row, was to TH. And TH used that style at the time on Northern Isle, I remember. But it did feel like in that game, Lin could have won if he landed the key surrounds. You know, when there were like ensnares and then attempts at surrounding, against which TH didn't have a Town Portal nor staff on cooldown. If any of the zeros had died, and then the TH got a couple clutch escapes, and I feel like for Chaemiko to win this game, it's probably going to take something similar, even though he's trying to play a very solid version of that build. You know, like some Human players, if they think that the Orc doesn't realize what's happening, they'll not even make a Blacksmith. They will just make a couple Griffins, go and fight, maybe bum rush the burrows.
Right.
Not here.
Yeah, he's going to get all the upgrades. Animal War Training and the Blacksmith, as you pointed out, coming up. The Paladin with the Staff. The nice thing about the Griffins is you can creep much faster than the Orc once you have that magic damage. Oh, you just need about 2 or 3 Griffins. She does have 2 and the 3rd on the way. Lin is nicely getting the red camp in the middle. Fountains are gonna have to go to Chaemiko because he needs that level 3 Mountain King. He needs that ideally level 3 Paladin as well before he can really start to trade efficiently, especially when there's this much anti-air. We see the first Wind Rider coming out as well as the expansion. About 30 seconds off for finishing for Lin, and the Witch Doctor again. It got so much value on Last Refuge that I'd love to see it again for Lin.
It's super scary to see Clap level 2 here against a mostly full ground army from the Orc. But Lin rushing that expansion the way he is, he's supposed to start saturating that, break up keeps, get really far ahead in supply, and then just start winning fights. Whoever wins the first big fight can maybe fall back on the fountain and get some of that free healing, that sweet free healing. You know, they say nothing is ever truly free in life unless you're playing on Concealed Hill, then you get this sweet free healing.
Concealed Hill with 4 Mountain Giants that are on 100 health. All right, Pillage. That's going to be good because Lin is at the base with a couple of Raiders. This is just so beautiful. Lin with the perfect scouts, with the perfect Witch Doctor timing, with the perfect expansion timings. And now Chaemiko's trying to kill the expansion, but there's 2 perfect towers as well with a burrow. It's going to take a while. Yeah, Chaemiko's got a TP, and the expansion not damaged at all. He didn't even kill a single tower. And so many peasants in the main base are going down to a single Grunt and the Wolves as well. Maybe just a couple, but definitely enough damage. 1,000 gold for Lin.
Yeah, this is time bought perfectly here by Lin. I think he fully realized that with his Expo, like it would be very hard to siege that Expo and actually kill it. Griffins, they're not that amazing against fortified towers. Fasting going around. Is he trying to get a Sapper to still harass the main base? Kodo's gonna get caught. This is kind of bad for Lin, but he went around the Human army through the center and back towards the main base here of Chaemiko, who's right now moving out without a Town Portal. He's out on the map, no TP.
This is so sick from Lin. This is really how you should play Orc. You don't need to commit to a fight if you don't have to. If you have Raiders, if you have potential for harassing, and Speed Scroll, of course, Town Portal, why not just hit their main base? And this is beautifully done. He's going to have to probably Town Portal out now, or he's going to lose a lot. He already lost that Coda, like you pointed out. Going to lose a Wind Rider and even a Raider in the main base. Is this too many losses for Lin? Maybe not, because the expansion is still mining and he is banking below upkeep. But definitely some nice kills. Paladin hits level 2 for Chaemiko. Chaemiko's getting as much value as he can, but the Zeppelin, oh, this is risky. Very risky against this many Griffins.
Gets a Shredder. And he's going into another bestiary, by the way. So I like that because Lin, with all of the peasants that he's killed, he knows that he's wrecked the lumber economy of Chaemiko completely, or just his economy overall, but in particular lumber. So he's like, you cannot get more armor upgrades for your heir. So then if he just goes for, he could go both, Wyvern or Bat Riders, I think both would be fine. Maybe he's going to wait to see the upgrades first. He was also waiting a very long time before picking a second spell on his Farseer earlier, but then he was like, okay, well, it feels like with Wolves level 2 I can do a lot of damage, and he was correct. He's definitely been killing quite a bit here. Forces Chaemiko back home yet again, and in the meantime, he's below 50 supply, already with 1,500 gold saved up.
Oh my god, that Zeppelin, this is so risky. I don't know how many Orc players would actually get a Zeppelin against mass Griffins, but Lin is doing it. Balls of Steel, and he's going to get out scot-free, it looks like. He hit perfectly on the edge. Chaemiko is under a lot of pressure. I guess he wasn't well aware. Yeah, and the lumber issues will soon be resolved for Lin. He's only got 17 right now, but the Shredder's working overtime at 1,600 gold. Chaemiko already broke upkeep because he knows he has to break this expansion. But now the towers, I don't even think, came up in his main base. He's going to try to break through the towers back at Lin's expansion. I think he faked a town portal there. Maybe not. He could staff back a hero, but that's about all he can do to defend. And all the peasants are going to die. All the towers are going to go down. This is just so well played from Lin.
Yeah, even if he loses his expo here, I think he's quite okay with it. His bank was just massive. He's going to Raiders. I expected Bat Riders because the upgrades on the armor of those Griffins, I think there's only the +1 armor, so Bat Riders would be quite amazing. But there is Devotion. There could always be a scroll, a protection scroll as well. Fountain Staff, so it can be risky to try Bat Riders against this. But he goes 2 Raiders into 2 Wind Riders. He wants to have a lot of piercing damage to try and deal with this air here. He should have enough Shaman to deal with the Water Elemental. And for Lin here, the only objective is to get to 60+ supply, get a good supply lead, and then take a favorable fight in his base.
For sure.
Staff the MK?
Delay. Did he staff the MK back? Okay, that's going to be decent to defend, but like if Lin turns around and maybe tries to put some damage on that Mount King, it could be risky, but the Mount King's putting in some work. Nice ensnare there. Might actually pick off a Griffin. No, not enough follow-up damage. The Mount King, though, kind of putting in work back at home, but all the peasants are red HP. One more Chain Lightning would kill all of them. This is a little bit ridiculous. The expansion did fall, and Chaemiko has enough peasants to get fully saturated back at his main base, but it's 57 against 45, and only 9 gold for a second there for Chaemiko.
Kept trying to run out, but it was closed. I think he was like, "You're locked in here with me." I'm surprised that Lin's reattempting to expand, by the way, because I feel like he could just make units and now finally take the fight. It could end up being a mistake here. If he somehow loses a fight, this could be very bad that he tried that, but it does feel like he's still a good amount ahead right now.
I think as long as Lin just always has a town portal, he could avoid a fight. He's going to lose a couple of units like he has been in the past by running around, but as long as he always invests into that town portal, which he can't actually afford right now, he should be all right. But yeah, if he gets caught out in a bad fight without a town portal, it could be really rough. This is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he almost has staff up. He's just waiting for that. Oh no, the Griffins, they're going to get caught out of position here. Lin was waiting for this the whole time.
Wow.
For Chaemiko to finally lose patience, make a single misstep, and there it is. Griffins get caught. They're going to get ensnared, and all of them are going to be sniped. Stomps are going to land in the middle of all the heroes, ideally here for Lin. He's trying to disengage. I think he maybe overcommitted on Raiders here. Maybe not the best option. Not enough Wind Riders and Bat Riders.
Yeah, not enough follow-up damage. He did get 2 kills, but lost a couple of units on his side as well. The expansion towers are coming up, but the expansion itself is not even being built yet. Okay, now it's being built. No burrow there to protect the peons. And yeah, Lin is in a position that he could definitely lose a fight. The hero levels are great for Chaemiko, and he's, of course, tier 3 against tier 2, and Lin has broken upkeep with no gold. like, if I think Lin has to go into full hit and run mode, or else he's not going to win a fight soon enough.
Yes, pillage. Oh my god, this peasant.
Love to see it. Love to see it as an
I love it. He has pillage, he has endurance aura level 2. He doesn't have a speed scroll actually. Neither does he have a town portal. Farseer could get caught. Oh my god. He has invuln. Goes for the Kodo instead. Chaemiko's catching a lot of units, and he's trying to cancel the Great Wall on the other side, I think, with the Water Elemental, maybe. I see something attacking on the minimap in the top left. Oh my god. If he can get this! No. Okay, I think Farseer will be able to defend. This was a sick attempt. Like, this almost could have worked.
Yeah, more units are getting caught as well. Lin just cannot afford a speed scroll or a town portal, and that's what he needs to play this sort of style. And I think the patience is really paying off for Chaemiko. He didn't overextend to either defending his base or attacking Lin's expansion. He just remained patient, and look at the hero levels. 4-3-3 or 4-4-3 even. Level 2 clap now, and Lin can't ever really fight, I feel like. He needs that expansion up, and he needs to get up to 70 supply even to really probably be able to win a fight, unless he can get an Archmage kill. Maybe there is level 2 Holy Light that's going to help, and there is a potion to be passed. There is a staff to be passed, but is it enough? There's no Holy Light. There is last second, and the Archmage makes it out. That was Lin's back into winning this game, but now it looks like maybe he's going to get caught out yet again with another Stormbolt. Okay, Chaemiko backs off. That was close. The Wind Riders at the main base, though. What the hell?
Yeah, they get back to work here. Peasants about to become an extinct unit here in this game. In a few moments, Griffins on the chase. Chaemiko's kind of broke here, ideally. I think if he knows there's Wind Riders, you want to get a couple Dragonhawks. But yeah, Sentry Wards set up everywhere outside of the base of Chaemiko still. And Lin is looking to try and keep up with the hit and run. But yeah, he was really missing a speed scroll there earlier, or maybe a town portal would have helped. Maybe he should sell that god-awful mask he's got on the Torrent Chieftain if he really needs gold, because he's not doing much. You know, agility. I guess it is strength as well. Yeah, those Wind Riders are being hunted.
Yeah, one definitely going to be caught out. Maybe even both. They are pretty difficult to kill with just the Griffins, but one's going to fall. A Peasant maybe gonna, you know, build a couple scouts. It's good to have scouts of your own when you're in this sort of game. Lin, of course, has the wards. Yeah, a lot more Peasants falling. The expansion attempt, is it up yet? I don't know if it's up for Lin, but he's got a decent amount of gold. He could afford that town portal we've been talking about. Okay, it is up and it is mining. Not fully saturated yet, but peons are being transferred over.
3 towers this time. I'm not really digging the positioning of towers too much, though, because it feels like the one at the back won't be shooting, for example, if the 2 at the front are being attacked.
Right.
Maybe clumping them up a bit more, but not too much that the Griffins would hit everything if they were shooting. And look at this, Chaemiko is going to squeeze in a fountain creep here. He sees a little bit of downtime coming up with the way he chased the Orc army. He knows very well about the positioning. Chaemiko is still very much in this game. It's so impressive considering the amount of peasants that he's lost. And how much pressure he's been under the entire game. I think he only got the Drake maybe in the item, and now he's pulling back for the defense. I mean, he needs to against this army. And there is no town portal, but Torrent Chieftain is deep inside that base.
Oh, this is risky. That Zeppelin, it's amazing it's lived so long. One Wind Rider wasn't so lucky earlier, but the Wolves are just the ones that are being caught out. The Torrent Chieftain was not. How many peasants are there left? There's still 8 peasants left somehow. So Chaemiko has enough to get some lumber economy, has enough to mine fully, but the towers have not yet gotten up. That's credit to Lin for constantly canceling those. There was a couple times there was about 2 guard towers, but not quite enough to defend the entire army of the Orc. One shaman being caught out. Constantly units are being picked off. So losing peasants and trading units is not too bad for Chaemiko, because he's still got a fighting army at the end of the day.
You know what's scary about this is that there is a moment where Chaemiko reaches Mountain King 5 and Archmage 5, and with Pala already being level 3, it just feels like you can just kill an entire army with your Tri-Hero at this time. And Lin hasn't really been able to use his economy advantage that well at this point. Like, yes, he's killed a lot of peasants, but they keep being replaced. And it means that Chaemiko is also going to mine out way later from his main base. He should have quite a bit more golds there saved up than his opponent right now.
Yeah, it's got to be at least a couple thousand at this point. The clap is huge. Okay, there is finally a town portal. It feels like it's been 10 minutes since there was a town portal for Lin. But he's trying to get out with the Zeppelin. You do not want to lose both your heroes of that Zeppelin. Okay, Chaemiko not committing. He just wants to get the units, which I think is going to work out better at the end of the day. Okay, Lin's almost back up to 1,000 gold. He was for a second. And yeah, how many shamans is it? There's only 2, so if the Archmage gets level 5, maybe even Water Elementals might be better than the Aura.
This is sick.
Some sort of split harass.
He unloaded the Torn Chieftain for Endurance Aura on the Zeppelin to move quicker. And if the TC will get Stormbolted, he could also pick up.
Yeah.
So this is the ideal getaway car here. And yeah, Lin attempting to take the center. Chaemiko has no idea. What a crazy game here we're seeing. He's finally going to Batriders, by the way.
Incredible that Chaemiko's been able to stay in this game. Like, Lin has played so beautifully this hit-and-run style, but Chaemiko is just so resilient. He knows his strengths, and those strengths are the heroes. Those strengths are the Griffins that can really trade very efficiently. And his strengths, hopefully at home, are now the towers that he's been trying to get up the entire time. But, you know, Lin can build towers as well. He's going to build 5 on that high ground. And even though the mains will run out at different times, that middle gold mine will not run out for a long time for Lin.
Yeah, that's center base with 5 towers going up right now there. I can already hear the backseat in the chat. Just get a Dragon Hog and Clouds. It's what wood? He lost 50 peasants this game.
He's got 11 peasants now, so he's going to get a decent amount of wood, but like you mentioned, the upgrades are going to be important if there is Bat Riders, which you mentioned there's 2 now. So yeah, more armor upgrades are going to need to be invested if the armies get too big. There's a couple of Bat Riders possibly going to go in. They're clumping up. There'll be a Holy Light follow-up. Nice staff. 1 bat invested, but he is actually going to get 1 Griffin. A little bit sloppy from Chaemiko, but I guess there was 2 targets the bat could have gone for, but no Holy Light follow-up.
Yeah, TC and Farseer are getting closer and closer to 5. We know that Torn Chieftain, that would be Stomp level 3, but I wonder, the Farseer, do you go Chain Lightning to try and counter air better, or do you go Wolves level 3 to slay some more peasants? I think Wolves could be great, maybe here.
Yeah, I think the Wolves would be better in this sort of a game, and maybe even like a Shockwave retrain later on if Lin's committing to full hit and run. Slaps are good. Decent Stomp, decent Chain Lightning. The Griffins take a lot of damage, and they are in range of those 3 towers. But the heroes, we cannot underestimate the heroes of Chaemiko. The Bolt, the Holy Light, so good, and we saw them both coming into play there. Still 46 supply for Chaemiko. Incredible.
Yeah, double mana potion available. He's trying to secure the fountain here. He could actually send back any Griffins that are missing hit points and heal for free there, but he also needs to be doing damage right now. I'm sure he would love to siege one of these bases. The middle is almost completely out of the question because there is 5 towers, so I think he might be about to hit that natural base in the top left yet again.
Yeah, the heroes are about to be 5-5-4. The Mountain King is solo creeping, trying to get to 5. There's another camp. There's actually a lot of creeps on the right-hand side, but you know, you don't want the game to go that late that you're creeping the entire right side of the map of your Chaemiko, and the Zeppelin yet again getting value. There is a Talon Portal on the Farseer, so this is all safe damage. The 5 towers could be killed if they're not attended to by the Orc, but traded for the main base. Lin would be totally happy with that trade. The Mountain King going back yet again. Stormbolt could be a clap. Level 5/5 though on Lin as well.
Oh, the Arcane Tower drained the mana just early enough to prevent any kind of stomp here. The Mountain King could have been in trouble if that happened. He used Staff of Teleportation to go there, I believe, right? So he could actually use Staff of Sanctuary on the Paladin, heal that Mountain King in a second. He might need that right now. Mountain King under assault. Chaemiko trying to run back. Mountain King gets level 5. This would be the worst time to lose it, and he does go down. Paladin was too far away. Oh no, Chaemiko. He doesn't have that much gold either behind it, so he cannot restart Mountain King immediately. He would have to sell some items, but he doesn't even have that many of those either.
Yeah, that would have been a beautiful play using that staff to get the Paladin back, but maybe under this much pressure and this long of a game, 26 minutes now on the timer, it was too hard to think of that. That's a pretty complicated play, actually, but I'm sure Chaemiko will be kicking himself.
He should cancel the armor upgrade here. From the Blacksmith to restart Mountain King, but he's not. Oh my god, he's almost finished. No! You need Mountain King!
Level 5.
So broke.
And it just got level 5 before it died as well, so that's very unfortunate. I mean, only 41 supply for Lin, which is incredible, because now he's on 3 base. Chaemiko is so resilient, but I just don't think it's enough. He's got a good army. He doesn't have that Mountain King. If he did, maybe it would be enough, but Lin is going to skyrocket in supply soon enough.
I think if the Mountain King lives, like, Chaemiko might be ahead right now. Imagine, he would have 40 supply against 45. A Mountain King level 5 here, like, he's just going to kill everything literally on his own. And it's been so hard for Lin to counter the air effectively, just because he's been doing so much hit and run, and he hasn't really built an army designed to fight this in the best of ways.
Right. Yeah, he's getting bats again. Could have maybe even got a couple more bats. Just building 2 at a time is great because you just kill 1 Griffin, and when your human's opponent's on no economy, you kill 1 at a time, it's totally fine. The Torn Chieftain has to be safe. because, well, there is no Stormbolt, I suppose, so he is being pretty safe. And it was Chain Lightning level 3, by the way. And that's all he needs to kill all the peasants. Again, they're going down. Like, the main's been out for so long for Lin, and Chaemiko's still mining from his main base. This is a little bit ridiculous, this amount of hit and run.
How many peasants do you think have died this game?
At least 30, right? Upwards of that. It must be. He's rebuilt so many. He had 11 before. Last time I checked, now he's got 2 again. So there's 9.
Oh my god, he's going for the altar.
Oh,
in front of the army. Oh, he realizes it's not a good idea. Mountain King halfway through back. Oh my god, can Chaemiko win this? Mountain King's gonna be back here. This is almost certain. Lin is expanding in the bottom right.
Oh my god.
This is the craziest game.
About to hit the 30-minute mark, and Chaemiko's main base has not run out yet. If the Mountain King gets back, if Chaemiko can deal with the middle base. Okay, 7k still on that natural though. Ooh, there's so much gold available for Lin, and there's just not enough time for Chaemiko to kill all these expanding bases. 1100 gold. Lin, he's investing a lot into this hit and run, but can he just sit back a little bit and maybe build an army that he can fight with? Is that enough if he just gets 70 supply?
I think he might save like 1500 to 2000 gold and then break. Oh my god, the Farseer hits, and a very angry Mountain King who's back into the game here. Stormbolt is gonna land. He did go for clap level 3, so it's only Stormbolt level 2. Tries to staff out. Oh, he goes for the clap. Farseer is gonna be able to get out with 59 hit points. He has a Ring of Regen and a Salve as well. Torrent Chieftain almost level 6. That base in the bottom right. Pretty sure Chaemiko has no idea it's there. And even if he did, where is he supposed to go here? He has to attack in 3 places at once. And every time that he does, his base gets countered-attacked.
Lin, and all it takes is the solo Farseer to do enough damage, because he's been beautifully canceling those towers at Chaemiko's main base over and over again. I really do think he could retrain Shockwave if he wants to play like this. Oh, was it denied?
Yeah,
oh my god. Incredible deny. Maybe Chaemiko, some star sense, realizes that. And if the Farseer gets 6 as well, this hit and run is going to be triply as effective. The Shaman's getting caught out, the back getting caught out. 1600 gold, though, for Lin.
Yeah, it does feel like he's going to be able to make that big army eventually. Feels like Chaemiko needs mass teleport, maybe. Of a shot here to have like better maneuverability around the map. And yeah, he needed to realize that this also was being taken, that expansion. Because once towers goes up, it's very, very hard to actually siege that base effectively. Again, 4 towers in the center, a 5th one on the way. Lin all over the place. He's still staying on 50. He wants to save an insane amount of gold before he finally breaks upkeep.
The SimCity here is really good. The Burrow maybe a little bit out of position. There's the Shockwave retrain, actually. Love to see it. Thank you, Lin. The Griffin's back, trying to defend, but there's so many Shockwaves. Has the gold mine finally ran out for Chaemiko? I guess it has, right? Maybe a little while ago. So there's just no gold left. Okay, this is all Chaemiko has then. He's got 32 supply. He's got 4 Griffins and an insanely strong Tri-Hero. But there's so many towers all over the place, and Lin can afford plenty more. And yeah, GG is going to be called. What an interesting game. 2-0 for Lin.
Yeah, Chaemiko made it as close as he could here, and it really feels like maybe with that Mountain King save, this game could have been different, but Lin, masterful with a hit and run. Shockwave retrain at the end. We only saw a single Shockwave, I think, so probably not going to get a brand new painting or frame in Neo's apartment here of that one. But that was pretty impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, 30-minute game at the tail end, just pure hit and run. An interesting approach to that style, like 2 strategies we don't really see, the pure hit and run against human, and of course the straight tier 3 tech from Chaemiko. Nice to see that both players are very, able to adapt, able to change their strategy, and going into Echo Isles, maybe a fast expansion if we're looking for 3 different strategies.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I feel like Lin does expect this kind of play to be possible, and he's definitely going to want to be on the lookout for it. So if you're Chaemiko here, it's very scary. I'm curious whether they're going to compete for the Troll Priest or not. It does feel like at high level, it's a very important thing to do currently. And players have really pushed the boundaries of what can be done with that. Like, there's literally a peon and a peasant trying to contest and buy that Troll Priest. Usually on the human's mercenary camp at exactly 14 o'clock, which is when it spawns.
Yeah, that's very important, of course, against the Farseer harass to get rid of those wolves. And if you're going for an expansion as well, if you're able to get that, then you're able to stop, any peasants from dying. So interesting to see. But it could, of course, just be pure standard again, just like we saw on Last Refuge. But, Lin does not seem to like standard so far this series. Farseer Headhunters and then pure hit and run. very adaptive, and I like to see different approaches. He was the one who invented that Kodo style, the current meta, that Grunt Shaman, double Kodo, Wind Rider sort of thing. Maybe didn't invent it, but he was definitely the one that popularized it. So he's reinventing the matchup, and he's reinventing the wheel with this new meta. I love to see it.
You know that meme, like the guy sitting at a table, changed my mind?
Yeah.
So we should put on the flyer. Lin invented that, changed my mind. Good luck with it too. Whatever we want to believe, he's one of the best orcs of all time, if not the best, and he's on top of his game here today. And he's going to need no less than that against a very strong Chaemiko, and also in the finals would be against Fly or 1-2-0. No easy matchups, any of these guys.
Yeah, it's going to be tough no matter who makes it through. But Chaemiko, he's going to need a reverse sweep to make it through to the grand finals. Map 3 will be on Echo Isles. Can Lin get the 3-0? What a dominating tournament this would be if he made it into the grand finals with a 3-0 against Chaemiko here, who looks so strong against Soen yesterday in the round of 6. That was like a great performance from him, but now Lin is just making him look a fool.
If this was MMA, Lin would pick up a mic and say, "I'm not Soen, man." Don't expect to be able to do the same thing against me. He's been the one running the show. Yeah. It was definitely a little too scrappy to my taste, that last game. Like, I feel like maybe the first time he broke up Kip, it was with Raiders. Like, against only +1 armor Griffins, I do think that Bat Riders would have been better. But hey, you know, I'm here at home, wearing sweater pants with a dress shirt. Nobody can tell. Feeling all comfy. Who am I to tell Lin what units he should be making?
Yeah, I think you did make a really great point, though, that Lin could have known there's no way to get a Shredder, and there was only a couple of Peasants on Lumber, so there's not going to be armor upgrades because they're so expensive for the Griffins. So seeing, I think the Griffins were only 1-1 even at the end of the game, going for Bat Riders would have been a great choice, and I think Lin could have maybe closed that game out a lot earlier, but he's definitely tired his opponent out. The question is, who gets more tired in a long series? Is it the youngling Chaemiko, or is it the veteran Lin going into Game 3 on Echo Isles?
It's... Oops. Early? Let's get right into it. I just cannot wait to get into the game, Carson. All right, Echo Isle on map number 3. Like I said, it's very important to try and battle for that Forest Troll Shadow Priest from the mercenary camp. That's why we already see a peon being sent out altar downwards here for Chaemiko. So this might mean he wants to creep around the mercenary camp first, because usually if you want to creep at the top, you'd get the altar upwards in your wall.
It could definitely be that. And with the mercenaries, is that an expansion attempt if he does go for that mercenary camp, or is it just a delayed tech like we saw on Concealed Hill?
Yeah, could be. I mean, it might feel like one of the best ways to counter the Shadow Priest being bought and actually surviving is to just head down there himself, but it's a big gamble. Imagine if that actually happens. Yeah. The Shadow Priest is bought by Lin, and then he runs away. We're going to have to pay attention to the clock at the top of the screen. If we hover over it, we get the in-game time. And at 14 o'clock is when the Shadow Priest pops. He's blocking with the footman, so the peon was actually a little late. And look, he runs in 14, what was it, 05 or something. He gets the Shadow Priest himself. So a big catch here for Chaemiko very early on in this game.
That was beautifully done. That's something new. That constantly reinventing the way people do this little interaction at this mercenary camp, and that was cool. Blocks the peon, gets ahead because he's got more movement speed, and steals it away. Very, very cool. The peon is still seeing what's going on, and it is an expansion creep for Chaemiko. Are we going to see a 4th farm? He's not building peasants, so maybe he's just actually creeping this because Lin is straight teching. Does he have a grunt? Okay, he does have a grunt, but his tech is already on the way.
It's going to be level 2 here, reach very quickly. You should be able to get this. Oh, Fastia steals it. Okay, so that's going to force one more Abolish on another Wolf, but then he doesn't have another one, and there is no Brilliance replenishing the mana on the Shadow Priest. Lin was late, by the way, with the peon. Like when you play against Hitman, if you get there at 13:50, there's already a peon in position. Yeah. So that was definitely a mistake on his part.
And maybe he sends the altar peon when you're supposed to send one a little bit earlier. I'm not sure, but okay, Chaemiko's building peasants, and he's building a tower at that expansion, but no 4th farm yet. It's either a mistake or a fake out, but this is a big commitment if it's a fake, so it's looking like an expansion attempt, but there's a grunt, there's 2 wolves, and that priest went down, so these wolves are here to stay. A lot of damage onto that Farseer, but no claws, just a ring. But a lot of peasants are falling. Are they all almost surrounded there behind that tower? This could be a lot of damage, and it could be a panda even at tier 2 on Lin if he wants to follow this up.
I love that tower location here. You can really like shield those peasants away a lot of the time against aggression, which usually will be there. But yeah, Chaemiko trying with the fast expand. Great call, Carson. I gotta say, you're extremely knowledgeable about this matchup. Your theory craft was amazing. Just quick plug, you know, like Neo yesterday.
Yeah. I did watch a lot of replays for Chaemiko and Sok because I'm a big fanboy of their play, and you can tell why. This has been very competitive, but Lin just seems to be so on point today, man. Just so on point. Still no 4th farm though. You got to give me that 4th farm if you're going to commit to the expansion, and commit he is. Yeah, I mean, is this a mistake or am I missing something with no 4th farm?
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be able to start the expansion here, and like you see, his gold and lumber is like pretty well spent already.
Right.
So while he's power building the expansion, there shouldn't be any surplus golds that he would be able to spend it on something. But then again, maybe he would have been able to buy the next Shadow Priest here if he had that.
Yeah, oh, is this going to be... This is like an old school counter to the expansion. You just attack the Town Hall with everything. This is what people used to do with the Blade Master. Is it going to be enough damage, though? Lin so nicely microing that grunt back, but with that, he's lacking the damage. So the Town Hall is going to be low, but it is going to be up and mining pretty soon. One more peasant possibly going to fall to that grunt, but Chaemiko's so strong with the surrounds, it looks like we're going to see one, yeah. And a couple more low units.
He's one of the best with the surrounds.
Yeah.
He always gets some really, really good ones, and I believe that grunt got surrounded at the expansion, which should give him level 2 if he kills that. Was he surrounded?
Yeah. He got it, yeah.
And he didn't deny it with the tower. Very well done here. See, the Archmage just didn't just get level 2. He got way above that here.
Those 2 grunts, and you're going to need that if you're Lin and you're going to pressure, but we see Bestiary, Spirit Lodge, and Torn Chieftain, so it's going to be not an overcommitment to stopping this expansion. We've seen in the past people get a Panda, people get 2 Bestiaries, and just go full Raider, Wind Rider, and try to kill the expansion. But this is a more conservative style from Lin, maybe even a counter expansion in the future, but he will have the late game potential that the Panda doesn't really have in the late game.
Yeah. Torn Chieftain is just more solid, like if you know you're going to play against ground, but then if Chaemiko is able to set up that expansion as, I wouldn't say almost comfortably as he was, like yes, there was a couple kills here and there, but he didn't lose like a ton of peasants. Now he's already starting Keep. Imagine if he goes triple Sanctum, which used to be the flavor for a very long time when you would fast expand like this and then gets a lot of casters into breakers immediately. Then that Torn Chieftain is not nearly as good because it's not like he's fighting mass rifles that he can stomp.
Yeah. I don't know if Lin's going to counter expand or not, or if he's going to go for some sort of... You know, you can see shockwaves sometimes from the Torn Chieftain, and then you will always have the option of retraining if there is rifles into stomp if you want to in the future, but he is going for Raiders, getting in snare. The Archmage is sharking around as always in this stage of the game. Yeah, the Keep is 50% done. Lumbermill Shop coming up. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be triple Sanctum or not. I do think that'd be the best option. You can get that early wall of breakers that we saw Chaemiko be so good with yesterday against Soin. Ooh, and I like this. A little staff to the shop, and he's going to get level 3 off of this.
Yeah, I think Chaemiko right now, he saw that Lin was at the Mer camp. He's like, okay, next he's going to creep the expansion, and then he's going to head to the shop. So I'm going to clear that out first. Look at the clock yet again. It's about to be daylight. He can steal the Invuln, maybe the Healing Scroll as well. Right. Those are very, very important to have for yourself here on this map. And to take away from the opponent as well. There is only one merchant.
Oh, Chain Lightning perhaps? Yeah, nicely done by Lin. A beautiful timing, but the Heal Scroll Invuln could still go to that Archmage. Scout into the main base, again, beautifully done by Lin. He's not going to see much. He's not going to see the Blacksmith.
He put down one Sentry Ward and he sold the other one. He's like, I don't need that. I need a spot right now. I need that Invuln. That's actually pretty well done.
Yeah, you don't see that too often, but yeah, he did get those big consumables. Ooh. Close, but no Cigar. The Farseer is close to level 3, though, and that'll be nice if Lin does want to go perhaps into the main base. The Crystal Ball that he got from the Merc camp is not the greatest item, but it will help if we end up in a sort of game that we saw in Concealed Hill. The expansion seems to be uncancelable because the Archmage is not level 3, and now there's Shamans as well on the field.
It actually, like against Invis, which Chaemiko uses a lot, it could come in handy eventually, and it's also going to give him some good scouting potential right now. Yeah. Like when the Keep finishes to see what's being produced. Usually in the main base is where Chaemiko is going to make his production. And I expect at least double Sanctum. He doesn't have the number for 3 yet, but maybe even 3.
Mountain King, improved lumber harvesting to help that problem a little bit. He does have a decent on wood, only 9. Oh, is that a surround? Actually, it is. There's an invuln, there's a town portal, but the town portal is definitely going to have to be used, and that's a nice little timing from Lin to safely secure that expansion that otherwise may have been cancelled by just the solo Archmage. Yeah, only one Sanctum, though, so far. Or it was there two. Maybe we're missing. No, I think it's just one Sanctum so far.
Yeah, he didn't have much lumber. He queued the lumber upgrade immediately. Yeah, there is the second one. By the way, Chaemiko, I know what he just thought here. He got surrounded, he got stomped, and he was like, do I invuln? And he was like, no, he's just going to hold us around. I'll just TP. Because that would have been a waste of invuln, which is very important to preserve for later on in the game. So I've been there, and then you can tell the experience here in that moment. You only have like 1 second to make that very important decision for the rest of the game. And yeah, I think he made the right one to just town portal out of there. That Farseer has been so annoying.
Yeah, every game, really. Lin's been so good. The Farseer can't always get value in the fights later on. The Chain Lightning's nice, of course, but the Wolves sort of fall off when there's Dispel, when there's Breakers to steal them away. But he's gotten a lot of value otherwise with the Harass, with the Run By, while creeping that Torn Chieftain up, which is, of course, the carry. You know, the Mountain King on the other side is the carry, but there's not a lot of creeps left. The Mercenary camp could be taken, and that Murloc camp is going to be taken, but it's going to take a little bit more, perhaps both greens, to the north of Chaemiko's base to get Mountain King level 3, and that's definitely needed.
Yeah, clap level 2 here is there is no corner you can cut. You have to go and get that. Helps so much against the ground of your opponent. He's going to Sorceresses. Chaemiko definitely has been using more Sorceresses than most Orcs do nowadays. I feel like in some of his previous games, in particular against Soin. But now he's getting caught a little bit out of position. Some of those units have already taken damage. Torn Chieftain's level 3 is ready to brawl. And Crystal Ball is actually sold. Level 4 already against level 1 Mountain King.
Oh yeah, this is really high levels. This is similar to what we would see back in the day when they would go Mountain King first and go into Griffins, and the Orc would just bully the human off creep camps, and then eventually on Echo Isles, you're left with nothing left to creep your Mountain King and your Paladin up on tier 2 and tier 3, or your Blood Mage and your Paladin on tier 2 and tier 3. So similar style from Lin. If he can go over and maybe creepjack again, that Mercenary camp is really all Chaemiko has left. That's, you know, a juicy camp, and maybe the corner, but it can be kind of a death trap. So I like this timing of this sort of pressure from Lin. It's very well done.
Yeah, his raids on this timing is just amazing. He's like, I know he doesn't have all the units that he should have just yet. The invuln this time will be forced. That was also the good decision here to make sure he gets out with the Archmage. Lin looking to engage before Chaemiko can get to 70, 80 supply here off of his expansion and economic advantage. Lands some big stomps. Even if he has to get out of there, it's not going to be before he kills so many more units, as another stomp is about to land here. Torn Chieftain still has invuln. He's got double rings. He's so tanky. Mountain King is going to go down, and that's Farseer level 3 reached for Lin here as he speed scrolls out of there after killing so many units, and I think he lost absolutely nothing.
Wow, Lin. Orc players, if you're watching, this is how you do it. This has been an incredible series. This entire tournament for Lin has just been so beautifully played. These timings, it's not even the creep routes, it's not even the build orders, it's not even the micro. It's just his beautiful awareness of when his opponents are strong, when his opponents are weak, and he just takes advantage of it in every matchup. This is so well done, and now it's 61 against 66. Lin has an expansion mining, and Chaemiko's definitely on the back foot. Level 1 Mountain King still, Todd.
Yeah, Lin went 5-0 in his group. So did 1-2-0. Are these two poised to meet in the grand finals here in what would be a great Orc versus Undead? It looks like Lin is unstoppable on his way there right now. He re-engages at a pretty difficult time though, because there's militia coming in. They're starting to be a critical mass of human. So he's delayed the creeping of that Mountain King, but eventually gets pushed back. And now Lin is going to have to finish the camps on his side of the map, which, if he only does them with his Torn Chieftain, that's going to be level 5 here. There's 3 camps left.
Yeah, and the level 4 Farseer won't gain him much more, especially with Breakers coming out now. He's already got the level 2 Chain Lightning, so this Torn Chieftain should be solo creeped. Yeah, there's a green, and then there's the Murloc and the corner camp, which is even a little bit more than his level 5. So Lin is swimming in experience. The Mountain King, not so much, but he will eventually get that level 3. And again, nicely done by Chaemiko, going to steal that invuln. There's only one at a time on Echo Isles, but the heal scrolls could definitely go to Lin, who has a little bit extra gold. We'll see if he picks one up. Would love, ideally, more than one against the soon-to-be level 2 Clap, but both players are going to need heal scrolls.
Yeah, and there's only one merchant. It will only reward the the swiftest of shoppers, quickest to make an offer. And in this case, it's Lin bidding at 250 gold for that healing scroll, gets it. Torn Shift 10, oh my god, he's missing 12 experience here to get that level 5. Can he get that before the fight? I don't think so, but I mean, just if there's a Water Elemental, maybe some Purge would give him that pretty quickly, or even one Footman, like Footmen are supposed to die pretty quickly in that upcoming fight. Mountain King didn't get 3. Chaemiko feels like he has to attack now because he thinks he's going to have a big supply advantage. So instead of going to the bottom left and creeping the big turtle camp, he's attacking now. He's trying to time it perfectly with his 80 supply, basically, which is saying, I hope you only have 60 yourself, but in this case, Lin has 75 already. And double healing scroll, double ring on the Torrent Shift 10. Not a single healing scroll for Chaemiko. He's going to try to force a fight in the worst possible position from Lin, but Lin's coming in from the other side. And that's level 5 TC here about to be reached.
If he fights in that choke, that is the worst position on any map in 1v1, but Lin nicely is aware of that. He's eating the Blizzard though, but he has Ensnare, he has Raiders at the front. Level 5 on the Torrent Chieftain. He's already used 1 Stomp, so it is on cooldown, but this is looking like all in. A couple of Footmen are going to fall. The positioning is beautiful for now. The Torrent Chieftain taking a lot of damage. Invuln Speed Scroll used, and that's the last of the survivability items on the Big Cow. The Lightning Shield used. The first Heal Scroll used as well. There is one more. The Blizzard is raining in, but the Mountain King now caught out of position. He has nothing to save himself. Town Portal out, but it is going to fall. That's still level 2 Mountain King, and that's still Lin, and that's still 3-0 yet again for Lin. Incredible performance.